This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday the 24th day of September in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. With more students and teachers voicing their concern over the results from this year's CXC examinations, the Ministry of Education has registered its dissatisfaction with the apparent poor grading of students at the 2020 CSEC and CAPE examinations. In a statement, the Education Ministry said it is concerned that there seems to be discrepancies with the grades that were awarded in particular subject areas to students across the country. Minister of Education Priya Manik-Chan has since contacted the CXC Registrar to officially register the concerns on behalf of students and their parents and teachers.
Last night, very late, I spoke to Dr. Wayne Wesley. He's the Registrar of CXC, and I expressed our deep concerns about what was unfolding, and we didn't even have all the information at that time. I was on a Zoom call with Queen's College and their students and teachers way past 11 o'clock. I think they had a meeting going. They have other schools who have called into us. We know that Linden has concerns. We know that New Amsterdam has concerns, St. Rose's, Wakenham. It's just widespread. It's ridiculous.
The Education Minister said the complaints by students, their parents and teachers are backed by statistics and range from discrepancies in teachers' projected grades and CXC final awards being significant in the results of many students.
We haven't changed teachers in these schools. We haven't changed the way we instruct. We haven't changed the way we mark. And so these grades are cause for real concern if you take all those external factors into consideration. And it is going to be something we pursue with vigor.
The Ministry of Education said there were unacceptable grades for integrated mathematics, pure math papers 1 and 2, and Caribbean studies at many schools.
This is very different. This is a countrywide rejection of what appears to be too many discrepancies. We've seen children who otherwise have performed very well throughout their academic life coming in with grades 5 and 6. It's stunning and shocking to their soul. We've seen entire schools going ungraded, although everybody sat the exam. So clearly something happened. And it is too important and too serious and way too widespread for CXC to ignore it. An investigation has to happen into what happened here, and an investigation with a view to resolving the concerns that I believe are justifiably held by parents, students, and teachers.
With some schools and their students refusing to accept the results, the Ministry of Education said it will leave no stone unturned in its probe of the problem, and it intends to pursue solutions with CXC until there is an acceptable resolution to the matter.
I want to say specifically to the students in this period who have been affected. We understand what happened here. The adults around you are fighting for you. Know that you are not alone. You're not alone. Your teachers are fighting for you. I am fighting for you. Your parents are fighting for you. The government of Guyana will be fighting for you. You are not alone. Do not despair. Do not feel desperate. Do not feel like your life is over, because it is not over.
Schools in Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Jamaica, and St. Lucia have also filed similar complaints with CXC. In a statement yesterday, the Caribbean Examination Council said students could request a query of their individual results. More news coming up in a moment.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed, and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
The government of Guyana invites supermarkets and shops in all regions to submit expressions of interest to supply items for the COVID-19 Public Assistance Program Phase 2. Applicants must demonstrate capacity to supply canned and bottled food products, dry and fresh rations valued between $25,000 to $32,000 per voucher, have adequate space in their business as per COVID-19 guidelines, or for sanitation facilities. Interested applicants can uplift the expression of interest form and selection criteria from the Civil Defense Commission in Georgetown or at your nearest regional executive officer's office between 9 to 15 hours, or request by email at pavpgy@gmail.com. Kindly deposit completed forms on or before 9 hours September 30, 2020, along with copies of valid business registration or certificate of incorporation and NIS and GRA compliance into the tender box at the National Procurement and Tender Administration, Main and Urquhart Streets, Georgetown. These must be in a sealed envelope, clearly marked expression of interest to supply items under the COVID-19 Voucher Assistance Program Phase 2. No expression of interest will be accepted by email. The Civil Defense Commission reserves the right to accept or reject.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls gas station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class or religion.
we are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. As outrage continues to grow among students, teachers, and parents over the examination grades from the Caribbean Examinations Council, the General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, Coretta MacDonald, is issuing a clear warning to the regional examination body.
We are sending a signal to CSEC. Fix your business right, or we're going to fix it for you. We cannot allow our parents to make the kind of sacrifices they're making to ensure that their children are given the kind of attention and delivery by teachers, and at the end of the day, they are not rewarded for the sacrifices that they've made. And so CSEC, fix your business, or Guyana will fix it for you.
The GTU General Secretary, who is also an opposition member of Parliament, reminded that in the lead-up to the examinations, the Guyana Teachers Union and other regional representative bodies for teachers had raised concern with the Caribbean Examination Council about its readiness to go ahead with the examinations during the COVID-19 pandemic. CXC assured the various unions that all systems were in place and its decision to proceed with the exams was sound. But now with students and teachers across the Caribbean from Guyana to Jamaica voicing concerns about their grades, the preparedness of the Caribbean Examinations Council is being questioned again.
We have been crying out to CSEC all along that they should be restructuring the whole this whole exams during this COVID period. We have, at our meeting with CSEC in March, and we had one later in, I think it was May, sometime in May, we would have had another meeting with CSEC, and that was at the level of the Caribbean Union of Teachers. We voiced our concerns. We spoke about not having two papers. We spoke about CXC owing our parents, because parents would have paid for two parts of the exams. We got one part and the SBAs. We voiced our concerns about the credibility of the exams and what kind of weighting these exams would have, the results of the exams would have as against 2019, 2018, and 2020. How would universities view the results of these exams?
The government of Guyana has already reached out to CXC with the concerns and is pressing the regional examination body for a full review of those results. A number of schools in Guyana have already declared that the results are unacceptable since they do not mirror the performance of the students and the weight of their school-based assessment, which was used as part of the grading process. And let's tell you now that Guyana's top secondary school, Queen's College, is threatening legal action against the Caribbean Examination Council if the body does not move to correct a number of discrepancies with the results for this year's CSEC and CAPE examinations. At a press conference today, Queen's College Principal Jackie Ben said in addition to a petition that has already started pressing for a full review, Queen's College also intends to move to the courts if CXC does not give in to the demands to review the results.
And we intend to, as a school, together with our other partners in education, to take this matter to the very end with CXC. If it means that we have to go towards the legal way, we will do that. If it means that we will petition to remove this college from writing CAPE and CSEC, we will have to do that. If it means that we will have to go forward to CARICOM and speak to the representative for education there to take this matter up with the council, we will do that.
Over 120 students of Queen's College are asking for a review of their grades. Several of them were in the school compound with placards this morning, pressing the examinations division of the Ministry of Education to look into the concerns. The QC principal said it is clear that there is the need for a forensic audit of the results and how the school-based assessment was factored in to lend to the final results.
We are calling on CXC to conduct a forensic audit and to give us the information that we deserve to receive. To date, we have not been told how the examinations were weighted. We do not know how our students would have underperformed as they claim. We are certain that they have not sampled and moderated all of our SBAs. And so CXC must answer for this travesty of justice.
And the Bishop's High School and other schools across the country have joined the calls for CXC to conduct a full review.
And therefore, at the Bishop's High School, we are joining in the clarion call demanding that the council do two things. They issue a clear statement as to the evaluation methodology. To this date, we do not understand how the council arrived at their decision. We do not understand how the council would have indicated that these persons deserve these grades. Therefore, they need to issue us a clear statement. And secondly, we are asking that the council commits to an immediate and a thorough review of these examinations results.
Owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, rather than postponing the exams, CXC devised a strategy for grading the students by having them complete a multiple choice paper only for most subjects and include marks from their individual school-based assessment. The number of COVID-19 related deaths in the country continues to climb. There has been a spike in the number of deaths in this month of September, making it the deadliest month since the pandemic started in Guyana back in March. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony today said spikes will happen, but he noted there are systems in place at the Georgetown Hospital to better treat the most severe cases of COVID-19.
Well, spike would happen, and we have seen, and that's what, when you look at the trend in Guyana, we have had a spike in Region 1, right? We have been able to contain that. That was at the Maruka end. We are now seeing a spike in the Mabaruma end, and we are taking similar measures to contain. 2 weeks ago, we had a spike in Region 9. We have taken measures, we have contained it in Region 9, so that's no longer like a hot spot. 3 weeks before that, we had a spike in Region 8, right? Again, we took measures, we contained. We had similar situation in Region 7. So there are variabilities. We are going to see cases go up. But once we take measures, and this cannot be done by the ministry alone.
The number of COVID-19 related deaths recorded so far for this month is more than what was recorded in the previous 5 months. The health minister said more than 30 of the persons who died were over the age of 70, and almost all of those who passed away had pre-existing conditions.
Most of the people who have passed away had what we call comorbidities, meaning that they had some other underlying conditions. Of the 73 that we're talking about, more than 25 or so had diabetes. You have persons who've had cardiovascular diseases, persons who have passed away who had cancers, persons who had end-stage renal diseases, and we had a few that had other infectious diseases such as malaria, HIV, and TB. So a lot of the cases that we have had these comorbidities.
Dr. Anthony also said it is important for all citizens to follow the COVID-19 guidelines and ensure they wear their mask once going out in the public. He said the health ministry has been doing all that it can to slow the spread, but citizens must also play their part.
This is not a Ministry of Health problem. This is a societal problem. Everybody got to be involved. So when you have people who are not complying with wearing masks, with taking social distancing, if people are going to go out and want to drink and go to parties and all of that, go to the seawall, congregate, all these things contribute to spread because we don't know who is an asymptomatic person who is spreading this disease. And when the guys go to a cook shop and stand up at the corner and they're having a beer while they wait on the food, you can get infected because you don't know who you're talking to. And we cannot overemphasize this information.
Guyana has recorded 44 new COVID-19 cases as of midnight last night, taking the total number of active cases to more than 900, with the majority of those persons in home isolation. There are reports that 2 other suspected deaths may have been recorded today. As nurses in Region 3 joined nurses from Region 10 in protests in the 2 regions today over late salaries and the absence of a risk allowance, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony is pleading with the nurses to give his ministry a little more time. Dr. Anthony explained today that $150 million has already been set aside by the government for payout to frontline health workers. He also said the budget, which is still under consideration, also includes additional sums that will cover risk allowance for health workers.
This government has said that we are going to provide frontline workers with risk allowance. And we have set aside in this year's budget $150 million Guyana dollars for that effort. And we have to remember that this is going to be from October to December, and where we would be providing this risk allowance.
The health minister promised that future budgets will take a wider look at the across-the-board risk allowances for health workers.
In future budgets, of course, we'll have more monies allocated for risk allowance. So the issue of risk allowance, the nurses and other frontline workers would have to give us maybe a few more days, because tomorrow we anticipate the passing of the budget, and once the budget is passed, then we will be able to use the monies allocated to provide these risk allowance.
Nurses in Linden started their protest action yesterday, and the protest action continued today. Nurses from the West and Marara Coast launched their own protest today, also calling for the risk allowance and on-time salaries. A joint patrol in the Cayuny River by members of the Guyana Defense Force and the Guyana Police Force came under fire from the Venezuelan side of the border yesterday. It is suspected that a Venezuelan criminal gang Sindicato might have been behind the attack. The Guyana Defense Force in a statement today said the joint patrol ranks returned fire. There were no injuries to any of the joint patrol ranks, the GDF said. According to a statement from the GDF, aggressive joint boat patrols by the Guyanese security forces have since been intensified in the Cayuny River area. Guyana's border with Venezuela is more than 1,000 kilometers long, and patrols are conducted on a routine basis. The GDF said yesterday's occurrence is not new, and several measures are being explored towards a resolution. A few weeks ago, members of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission conducting patrols of mining areas on the Guyana side of the border also came under fire from the Venezuelan side. Across the region is coming up next. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls gas station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, the National Security Minister in Trinidad and Tobago, Stuart Young, said the investigation into the multi-million-dollar pyramid scheme will be a complex one, and he issued a warning for persons to stay away from the fraud. Speaking in the post-cabinet press conference, he noted that an investigation was also on the way into the return of some $22 million by the police to persons involved in the scheme. The minister said he is certain the Financial Investigations Bureau will get involved given the large sum of money. He issued a warning for persons to not get caught up in any pyramid schemes. He added that questions must be asked about the legitimacy of having $22 million in cash. Young noted that the population was warned about the pyramid scheme by the Trinidad and Tobago Security Exchange Commission as well as the central bank. He said a pyramid scheme is fraud and it should be seen as just that. With Brazil still registering thousands of new coronavirus infections daily, politicians are keen to strike deals with vaccine makers to try to protect Brazilians from COVID-19. Yesterday, the governor of Brazil's most populous state, Sao Paulo, said he expects to start immunizing the population with a Chinese-made coronavirus vaccine in December. He said 5 million doses of the Sinovac vaccine will be delivered next month, adding that he hopes the entire state could be vaccinated by the end of next February. The official said there were encouraging signs that the vaccine was safe after it reached the third stage of tests with 50,000 volunteers in China. And finally tonight, international news. Republican leader in the U.S., Mitch McConnell, has insisted that there will be an orderly post-election transition, something the U.S. president has cast doubt on. The BBC reports that Mr. McConnell said regardless of who wins the 3rd of November presidential election, there will be a peaceful inauguration on the 20th of January. Yesterday, President Donald Trump refused to commit to this, saying that they'll have to see what happens. Mr. Trump has questioned the integrity of the U.S. postal voting in recent months. The president currently trails his challenger, Democrat Joe Biden, in national opinion polls, with 40 days to go until the election. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.